traders and investors alike were green on Friday. I hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. I hope everybody's getting some time off. Family time, study time, chart time, family time. Family time is very, very important. We all need a break from the market. You know, it's in here every day. It's, market's ever changing and it can be stressful to some people. So, we all need a break from the daily price action sometimes. All right, so I want to do a video on the Chinese list. I was actually had some Facebook members reach out to me. They're invested in these, kind of trying to figure out what's going on, maybe where they're going. And I must say that I am personally not invested in any of them. I have been in the past. I have no positions in these. I don't even day trade them that much. They are day tradable, but I just don't day trade them that much. I just think there's better places for your money. That's a lot less risk. Just political side, they're good companies, but the political side does create some risk. And right now, so I've seen stuff last week that there was tanks basically sitting out front of banks protecting the banks from protesters. So we've seen heat waves last week, surges in COVID. There's issues with housing and some. The biggest issues are right now seems to be with the banks. So people have their life savings tied up and they're unable to basically deposit any money. And the last thing I'd seen almost was like if they're only giving people even starting to issue any money to people who have saved over 50,000. And a lot of times those people would probably be better off than the people who've only been able to save a few thousand. Those are the ones who are probably in the need of the money the worst. So that's just not good for the the average person than COVID going on over there. So things look pretty bad over there. And one thing I like, we have freedoms here, and seeing things like that happens over there, kind of, as bad as things may seem over here sometimes, we still have it better than a lot of these other countries. So, and not getting political. So we got Baba here. So last time we did a video, we were looking at this 200, we were watching these patterns. If we could take the 200 out, we would continue being bullish, but if we couldn't take the 200 out, of course, we would expect some downside. So we did take the 200 out. The next candle tested it. We ended up gapping down, probably on news, and have been into a downtrend ever since. We come down here, found some support on the 50, flagged back over your 9s, coming right through here as well. I should, draw on a downtrend because it's hiding your 9. So basically, we flagged into the 9, got below the 50. Would like to see a close or we could always gap up. These things gap so much we could gap back over that 50 tomorrow morning. But is what I'm looking to see is a confirmation candle. I want to see a new candle open and still remain below this 50. We need to watch this gap for support. The first, it tested there and it tested there, so it did act as support. Maybe on the third test, there's a good chance that we could see some downside, be able to crash through it. If we go through it, we could always see a gap on the other side of this too, or see support on the other side of your gap as well. Look at your histogram. Looks like you're looks like it wants to give us a pinch here and giving us more downside. We're going to see this in a lot of these assets. So you got the weekly chart pushed up, never even quite made it to the 50, come back down. This is your 20, your 9. So I don't like the way these two candles are. I hate it when we're squeezed in between moving averages like that. But if we were to lose this 20, I would expect more downside. The 9's applying pressure. You can see traded pretty flat, took a beating on Friday, and we're going to see that with a lot of these 15-minute charts. BIDU, very similar setup. We're still above this 50. So I'm looking here. I want to get below the 50. For me to trade this bullish, I would have to be back above the 9, the 200 and the 20 up here. I just would like to be up there. You also have a gap up here. So be aware if we do get back up there that there is a gap up there. For the downside, I'm looking to get below this 50. Watch this gap down here for support, but there's a lot of room to make money between there. once again, your histogram here is showing us that it is looks like it wants to pinch, give us more downside. So if we look at the S&P 500 up here for relative strength, we are trading much weaker than the market. So we're definitely leading to the downside here. So we are weaker than the market. So even the RSI is heading down, I don't put too much into the RSI. I get my relative strength from price comparison. But if we get below that 50 there, we would be looking for downside. Once again, above the 200, above the 20, below the 9, same setup there as BIDU or BABA. FUTU, this chart looks trying to hold in a little better. Trying to hold this 200 here. You can, if we get below this 200, this is the daily. If we get below this 200, you could take a trade to the downside, but be aware of that 50. For me, it would be a better trade. I would look to be below the 50 and look for a move down. MACD, same thing, weaker than the market, showing us, letting us know that it is weaker than the market, leading to the downside. So the weekly chart right into the 50, seeing resistance there. This 20 looks like we're barely below it. Could possibly get, that's the 9, could possibly get a move down to the 20 here, and we're looking for bearish moves anyway. So this had a huge move down on Friday. You can even see in after hours, you can see it downtrending here. The 9 is coming down. The 50 is coming down. The 200's coming down. I would not be surprised to see a push up to try to regain, maybe to retest some of these areas. Look like you're really close to it now before a move down. That's a big move down, and you don't always get like several days of a move like that. Maybe need a chop day, come up, retest some of this area before we take another move down there. With news happening so fast in China, anything can happen here as well. So JD, this is JD's daily chart. We got to get above this 200. We talked about the 200 in this area. We needed to get above this 200 to be bullish. We never got above that 200. MACD's trying to roll to the downside. Looks like your 50 would be your next level of support if we close below, or if we open below this 9. Be careful trading if you're right at your 9, because it can act as support. So just be careful going short. Setting up on your 9 like that normally is a long play. I want to be below that 9 to go short. JD's weekly chart, you can see this is basically a downtrend here. The 50's pointing that out for you. So you can see the downtrend. We just come up and tested the downtrend back above this 9 on the weekly. So I'm looking for a close below this 9, or I'm looking for the candle to get below this 9. So you also can look at it this way. You got a high, so a low. We're possibly putting in a higher low here. That's what I would look for a move down, because we are looking for a move down. But that MACD looks more bullish than that. That MACD actually looks really good. So it may not be as weak, like I say. So out of these charts, if you're looking to go short, pick the ones that look weaker to you. You may see something that I don't see. You may see stuff differently than how I see it. As long as we're making money, as long as we're all making money, that's what matters. We don't have to call everything or see everything the exact way. You're going to find things and setups and candles and stuff that works for you. Stuff that you're spotting. So you can see KWEB here. This is a ETF. This is an ETF that we actually follow. We look for flow on. We get heavy call flow on this. It's a good chance the Chinese stocks, we're going to gap up in the morning. That just seems the way it is. So this is the weekly chart back below the 9 here, in between this 9 and 20. I would be careful. That's not a bad looking MACD there on the weekly. Now the daily MACDs looks like it wants to pinch here and continue to roll down. This chart, we close below this 9. I would want to see a daily candle open below this 9. That gives us confirmation that candle has to open below this 9. That gives us confirmation to the downside. Confirmation that, to the, so at that point you're looking for the path to least resistance. You clear your resistance, so you're looking for the path to the least resistance, and you wouldn't expect it to go back up. If you're below a level, you would expect that level to hold and move down. Of course, you check, look for other signs, check other time frames. So Li Auto here, this is another one. So Tesla had great earnings. Some of our EVs popped on it a little bit, but these didn't respond at all. They're just still seeing more bearish side. I would watch for a move down to the 50 here on the daily. This is the weekly chart that I was watching. We were forming this little flag. Price action got really tight in this flag, and we end up pulling down, testing the 9. So be careful, because this weekly chart could get a pounce off that 9. That, it's a very powerful setup right there on that 9. So just be careful with that one. I would like to see that candle get below that 9 before I go short. If you're getting into it trading responsibly, you can have a trade there. It's just getting into it and not trading them responsibly. I think we're coming into some opportunities. This is a big week, and we're going to talk more about the market in another video. But I do believe we are getting into a market that's getting ready to be full of opportunities. One way or the other, full of opportunities. Like I said, we'll go over the market and the data coming up and everything. The earnings, we'll go over that in a different video. So this is Li Auto's 15-minute chart. You can see the big pullback on Friday. It's been just chopping around here. We gapped up and flat, and finally getting a move out of it. After this big pullback there, you kind of need a day to chop around. EDU, this is one of the better looking charts. This MACD is just hanging out, cooling off. This price action is coming up, testing this level. I like the moving averages here. Obviously, I would want to see it get above this level, but I do believe if this one gets above this level, you're probably going to see some decent upside out of it. Got a nice flagpole on this. This is just a big flag. That's for basically you had a flag, you tried pushing up, it's formed a tabletop right at this resistance. Just how I look at it as a little tabletop. So EDU, you got this cup here, and you can see the resistance level on the weekly. So this is a really good example to use multiple time frames. You can see you're in the resistance. Well, what is the resistance? Going to the next higher time frame, which is the weekly from the daily, that tells you right there, that's what you're fighting. So you want to draw that out. You want to get above that. Look at that volume coming in down here. It's been down there a while to build up like that. EDU, you can also see right here, I highlighted this volume profile bar. It's been a lot for the last 5 days. There's been a lot of volume coming in that level. So I would personally want to see it get above this level, clear it, and possibly get a move up. You see on the chart, so we basically just looked at the chart. If we can break out on that daily, that's what I would look for. NEO, another chart, I think there's more downside here. Look at this histogram. You're dumping, and you're pinching right there. Look at that histogram on that MACD. We open below this 50 on the daily chart. I do expect to see more downside on NEO. NEO's weekly, you can see we have some moving averages right there. So you still got your 20 acting as support, your 9's tied up in there. So that's a level to watch. Once again, I would, if we can get below this 20 on the weekly, look for more downside. I think if we clear that level, we're coming down to possibly 17 is what I'm looking at. And that could be a trade the dip opportunity. I can't say buy the dip, but there's some of these things are very, very tradable. We're always talking about trading responsibly. So this is NEO's 15-minute chart, and Joe, he said that, I remember Friday in a trading room, because I wasn't watching it, he said that NEO was getting pretty beat up. Come down here, but you can see you come down here and put in a little double bottom on the 15. Look, you come back up, you took your neckline out. That's confirming a double bottom. You got one candle there. You could have made a little bit of money on that. PDD, I watch this watch this 50 here. 9's coming down as resistance. Watch this 50 for support. This looks like it's trying to level out here. This MACD doesn't look as bad as some of them, but we get below that 9, I would look for more downside. all the trouble going on in the country, we could definitely see, some downside on all these assets. Like I say, go through your charts, look to see for which ones you're more bearish on. Follow your price action. PDD weekly below your 9 here. Above that 9 we're bullish. Below that 9 we're bearish. You can see the 15-minute here chopping around. Pull back on Friday, not as bad as others. Now XPEV here, bearish. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. Look at that MACD. The MACD is very bearish. Open below the 50. You could get a pushback to retest this 50 at any time. That's textbook. I would prefer to see tomorrow's candle go back up, retest that 50, and then for a move down. XP, look at this weekly candle, cleared all your levels. That's the one to be bearish on right now. Watch for a move back up. Now, so this week we could see a small push back up, retest that 20 before the next snatch down. It's very possible. This is why we trade responsibly, guys. XP 15-minute chart, not as bad of a pullback on Friday. You can see it's actually pretty tight to have that big candle here the last 5 days. We're actually pretty tight on the 15. And back to Baba. So that concludes our video. I hope you guys can take something from this. If you're in these, there's ways to hedge to protect your positions. There's also ways to, this could be, like I say, if you're invested in these, these could be pullbacks where you can add a little, if you're position building, if you have a long-term account or, these are long-term holdings, then, your position building, and these could be great times to add. Remember, try to always add red, and don't go in buying a dip like crazy. Smaller buys, and always try to buy red. That'd be very helpful in your position building for your long-term accounts. All right, everybody, that concludes our video. I hope to see you in the trading room tomorrow.